Hello, Missladypetal here. Now that I finally have my microphone, I'm going to be doing more regular videos. I've already filmed my memory file Heidi swap video, but I'm not going to release it until after Mother's Day because I don't know if my mum is stalking me on YouTube, but she certainly is on my Missladypetal Creations Facebook page, and when I upload videos they automatically load there, so yes, I won't be loading that until after this Sunday. However, today I thought I would do some book reviews. So I watched a video of Gina Ahrens, and in that video she was talking about going through her collection of books, and I thought at the time, well, I don't have a collection of books. So I decided that I'd come to a point in my art journaling where I needed to get some books. I wanted to do something more meaningful with my art journaling because for the first 12 months of art journaling, I essentially just played with technique. I played around with different mediums. I played around with different types of writing and painting and styles, finding myself in what I wanted to do. So now I've gotten to the point where I've definitely found myself in my paintings, and those are all planned out. But I've kind of lost my way in my actual art journals, and I have a number of art journals because they all have a different purpose. So at the moment I'm doing Documented Life Project, and I'm behind because I've only just joined. But I'm doing it loose leaf. So I've done the first page, and that is something where I have a weekly prompt, and then I do a page that's about me or something that's important to me that is prompted by a word or a sentence that is that prompt in the Documented Life Project. I've also decided that I'm going to do a journal about my art journey. So I've got a Moleskine. I call it Moleskine because Moleskine just sounds to me ridiculous. If I'm saying it incorrectly, I'm sure someone will comment and correct me, but you know, for now I'm not going to worry about it. For me it's Moleskine, and it's going to stay Moleskine. So here's my Moleskine little journal. Now it's an art passion journal. It's not got artist grade paper in it. So what I mean by that is this one's going to be a journey of my art history. So this is my first page, and in this I've said this journal is about my journey from being a crafter and a scrapbooker to being an artist. The desire for something more in my creative process became essential to me in 2013. In these pages, read my story and see my art and travel with me in my creative process to become an artist. And I figured that one day my kids or anybody that's interested in me will want to read this book. And it has lots of pages in it with tabs. So I'm going to one that I've already started filling out, and it's called Wish List. So this is my wish list, and I'm sure when Moleskine designed this journal that they thought it was a wish list for different artworks or for places you wanted to visit. But for me it's a materials wish list, and I've got things on it like Inktense blocks, Winsor & Newton watercolour inks, Sakura watercolour pencils, Delusions Art Journal 5x8 and 9x12, and Caran d'Ache new 2-colour crayons, so watercolour crayons. And so I'm exploring my journey, I'm finding my place, and while I'm doing that, I've done a book review in here already on the first book that I've written about, which is Doodles Unleashed by Tracy Bautista. So I'll just read to you what my review is. So the technical details is about unleashing your inner creativity. The book is called Doodles Unleashed, and here's the book. So this is the actual book Doodles Unleashed by Tracy Bautista. The thing I like about Tracy Bautista is that this is not just about making marks or making doodles, and none of her books are. But it's where you will find your inspiration and creative reference books that are uniquely you. So for me, it was creating new marks and collecting mark making tools. And the major things that I got out that I wanted to remember from reading this book, and I haven't completely finished it because it's very expansive, and it's one of those books that I like to step through as I do each completed project. So it will take me a long time to actually get through this. So the first thing is a photo inspiration journal. So I will just turn around and get that for you because I've just gotten a cheap journal. I've just gotten a cheap journal and I've covered it with some quirky photos and some photos that my husband's taken, which I really love. And it's essentially a journal for photographs. So I just walked around my front and back garden, and these are some of the images that I got that first day. And I've printed them out, and essentially what I'm looking for is ways that I can doodle. So you can see here I have this fabulous potted plant in my front yard, and so I just was doodling something next to it, which is something similar to the pipette flowers that I sometimes draw. And also in that reference journal, Tracy asks you to look for a stylized alphabet that you take from taking photos of things. So my first one that I already had, and it's a postcard that I received from England, is this photo here at the top. Now that photo there looks like a letter Y, and I will develop and I'll show you in the future what that letter Y starts to look like, and I'm eventually going to stylize a whole alphabet for myself, which I can then put all together on one page. I can scan it and make it a font that I use, but it's also a reference guide for me to then redoodle that all in the same place and use it in my art journaling and also in my art for future. And it's Peter's stylized alphabet, uniquely mine and not copied from anybody else. And I like the fact that I'm working on multiple projects that give me more tools to go and make better and more unique art. Because it's one thing to be inspired by Tracy Bautista. It's another thing to go and then use her advice and create something completely unique that is not based on anything that she taught you. And I love the idea that she's such a fabulous teacher that she doesn't want to create people that just create her works of art. She actually wants people to find their own way, get inspired by her methods, and then produce something unique. That I love. So that Doodles Unleashed book I won't be giving away. And I've ordered her printmaking one. The collage one, I've done some of her courses, so I don't think that I'm going to purchase that. But I have a friend of mine who has, so I can flip through it and see how we go. The second book that I'm having a look at, so definitely if you're into art journaling and you want to make good marks and have inspiration to do original work and take it further and translate that into larger works of art, that's a good book. The next one I got was Mixed Media Techniques for Art Journaling, and this is a collaborative workbook of collage, transfers and more, and it's edited by Christy Conlon, but it's got a whole bunch of artists in there, including Tracy Bautista. It's got Sherry Gaynor, Violet, Bernie Berlin, Melanie Tester, Kathy Johnston. There's some great techniques in here. There's only a few things in here that I don't already know that though. After 12 months of scouring YouTube, testing my own thing out, just reading things on the internet, I know probably 90% of this book. And so for me, it is really for a beginner. And there's work pages in this book. So the thing I like this for a beginner is that you have an exercise, right? And you might be doing, in this case, it's pen tests. So then you go across here and you do your pen tests, or they tell you to make your own journals with all different kinds of papers to do your pen tests. And they recommend, there's another really good one here about colour palettes, which I will be doing at the beginning of every journal if it's a new type of paper that I haven't used before. So essentially using every medium that you want to use in that, and then doing little tests on the paper in that journal and your whole colour palette, so that you know exactly how those colours are going to react to the paper that you're using. So it's really good technically like that. Heaps of places to do your workshops, examples of work, but very much for a beginner. So I'm keeping this as a reference tool at the moment to use for when I teach beginners, which is an amazing thing because they list out all the tests. They do a lot of work in that beginner phase. So this, if you're a beginner and new to art journaling, I highly recommend this book. I bought it from the Book Depository, and in the States the Book Depository has really good prices and they have free shipping to most places in the world. So it is well worth having a look at the Book Depository, and I'll put the link to that at the bottom of this video so that you can just click on it and go and have a look. But this is called Mixed Media Techniques for Art Journaling, a workbook of collage, transfers and more, edited by Christy Conlon. Great book. I got this book today, and one of the reasons why I left this video until now is that I wanted to receive the first 3 books in the mail, and they all came on separate days. I've ordered another 2 and I'll talk about those when I get them and I've had a look at them. This is called the Raw Art Journaling, Making Meaning, Making Art by Quinn McDonald. Now, I've only had a quick scan through this book, but it is really about framing your words, using words, playing with words, hiding your words, artistic techniques for creating a journal that has, say, painting and doodling, weaving your words within that, because Quinn believes that you can have art, but you need your language as well. And when you're doing art journaling, you're not just doing journaling that plays with paint. There's always some meaning to it. So the thing that sort of jumped out at me, and I'm just looking for the page, so bear with me, is a section called actually, there's quite a few sections that I love, but okay. It's called Found Poetry. And what she means by that is that she can find poetry or meaning in a whole piece of text and pull out certain words and then make a sentence or a thought that has meaning. And she will do that from magazines, catalogues or book pages, and she will paint over things. So one of the ideas, and they've got pictures, so is pulling and cutting out the words and then pasting them in, which you need tweezers and a good sharp knife to do. The thing I really liked was circling your words. So you could circle your words and then blot out the rest and then doodle over the rest of the page and only have those words visible. Now that's a great idea for an art journal page or numerous art journal pages in various forms and media, especially if you like doing altered books or you really like the idea of doing something like that, where you have the altered page underneath and it's actually a book page that's stuck in the middle of an art journal page, so it's not just done on the book page. And then she's journaled all around it about what those words mean to her. There's also things like incorporating your feelings but hiding them. So you might have a whole heap of negative emotions, or you might be keeping secrets and you want to journal that, but she gives you ways to look at it where you'll write everything on there and then you'll cover it up, or you'll hide it, or you'll thread it or weave it, doodle it, graffiti over it, do a whole heap of things. I highly recommend this book for that. For me, I love my journaling, and I play around with scripts, and sometimes I graffiti, most of the times I just do plain journaling. But this book already, and I've had it for like an hour, has just opened my eyes to different ways that I can put my emotions into something. Because I've been talking to the admins on Crazy Family about negative emotions lately, and how we need to be able to express them in our art without having necessarily making that art really negative. So because art is therapy and it can be really healing. And so if you're going through something really hard and you're needing support, or you use your art as therapy, I mean, I use my art as therapy. It relaxes me. But I also know people that suffer from depression and headaches and all kinds of physical ailments, and they always feel better when they do their art. So you need to be able to express whatever's going on for you. I mean, I know a lot of people in our Crazy Island family group that have a lot of serious health complaints. And so that's the journey that they're walking on right now, and they need to be able to express that. And sometimes just having a positive thought is not the only part. That could be the tagline to the whole other story behind that. But you want to be able to tell that story as well. So in my documented life project, I'm going to be talking about those prompts, and sometimes they're negative and sometimes they're positive. And in my journey, sometimes my thoughts on things are negative and sometimes they're positive. In my paintings, my current winter flowers painting, that's about all the negative things that impact our lives, that make us dry, make us kind of die around the edges and feel like we have no colour in our lives. But the painting itself is beautiful. But that is, when it's finished, you will have no doubt that that's what the painting is about. So I'm painting about something that's negative, and I'm hiding words in that. I'm hiding words and meanings and text in that painting that all talk about and weave and thread through the story of that, because everybody goes through hard times. But then you can look on it and see there's a light at the end of the tunnel. There's beauty in the midst of all of that. And so we're going, when that painting's finished, I'm really hoping that they can see the hardness and the desolation and then the beauty and the hope, all in the one painting. It'll be interesting to see whether people interpret it the way that I'm creating it. So I guess what I'm saying to all of the people that follow me and anyone watching this video is that it is extremely important that you find a place that gives you meaning, that you find points of inspiration and then you make them yours, and that you find ways of expressing yourself that help you move through the journey of life and have meaning and content. And whether or not you post them on Crazy Island Family or anywhere else or any other forums you're on, or show anybody, is completely up to you. There is some of my art that I don't show anyone, and I never publicize it, because it's either I've used people as an inspiration or it's very private and I don't want to share it. and that's okay. But the majority of my art I share, because what I've found with even my art journal pages or anything like that is that they can have a major impact on people and they can bless people. And part of the reason and my motivation for becoming an artist and really calling myself an artist rather than a crafter is that I've seen the huge transformative effects that my art has had on people's lives. And it's nothing that I ever thought would happen, and it's not something that I go looking for either. Because for me, art was quite a selfish thing. I would do it because I liked making things that were beautiful, and I didn't necessarily think that that would impact on other people's lives. But when I started selling my paintings and then giving some of my paintings and my works of art away, then the feedback that I started getting back was intense at times, incredible, and has brought me to tears. And if my art can elicit that kind of emotion from people, then it is worth my while to put the effort into getting the tools, whatever way possible, to make my art better, to tell my story clearer, and to give people a more enjoyable experience. And I guess that's what I'm journeying on at the moment. So thank you very much for watching, and ciao for now. I look forward to catching up with you next time. And remember, learn something new today. It keeps you young. See you later.